July 2nd, 1776, exactly the day when a lot of the signatures were put on the Declaration of Independence. The rest of them, I think, were done over those 2 days, and it was like officially logged and registered, whatever, on July 4th. But yeah, July 2nd, here we are. Like we're entering the 3 day holiday of Independence Day. I decided to check out 1776 by McCullough from the library because I realized I haven't read it since I read it the first time in 2007. Yeah, that was 18 years ago. I'm due for a refresher. And since I'm also still reading my way slowly through the Washington biography by Irving, it's got a lot of like good overlapping information that helps to contextualize the goings on of certain battles and everything. But as I was reading today, I remembered a book that I grabbed a couple of years ago that I don't think I ever reviewed. It was a biography of a man who is he's not inconsequential, is a bit of a demeaning word because he was a cavalryman and he had some medals and stuff during the Revolutionary War. He was a celebrated soldier, but he's kind of not known to history, and a lot of his contributions are overshadowed by the larger goings on of the revolution. His name was Harry Lee, and he was a particular type of cavalryman. He rode a light horse, and so he was so good at it that his nickname was Light Horse Harry Lee. The reason why he gets any historical attention at all, I think, in the larger context of American history, is because of who his son was. But we'll get to that in a minute. In 1779, he earned a gold medal for, like, courage and valor and stuff. That is definitely a cop hiding out in the grass. They are out in freaking force today. I've seen cops everywhere. Anyway, he earned a medal. And if I remember right, in this book by Ryan Cole, there was some difficulty in him getting it. Like he had to kind of make his case for actually receiving the dang thing, even though he'd earned it. The tricky part was that this medal was really only given to generals, but he had earned it through his actions, and George Washington himself had to kind of give an endorsement saying, like, no, this dude earned it. Like, it doesn't matter what his rank is. He kicked butt out there on the battlefield on horseback, and he's also awesome, so give him the freaking medal. And they did. And then he went on to fight in the rest of the war. He was born in, I believe it was 1756, and he died in 1818. He was kind of like from the Virginia area. He went and he was in Georgia when he died. He was married twice, and he had, I'm going off of memory here. He didn't have any kids with his first wife. He had 6 with his second wife, including the last one, who was born in 1807. During a mob attack on a postal worker, Harry came to this guy's aid and got his butt kicked for his troubles, and was injured for the rest of his life. And ended up dying in, like I said, in Georgia while he was out kind of recuperating from his injuries. But because of financial problems and his military adventures and just general other goings on, as a man of his time would be, and especially a man of his class and his financial means, he was away from home for extended periods of time, and his youngest children had less and less contact with him, especially as he got towards the end of his life. He is significant to us today largely because his son was Robert E. Lee, who would go on to become the main leader of the Confederacy during the Civil War. If you look at the dates on the calendar, I mean, the Revolutionary War went on for a long time. We mostly pin it down to 1776 because that was the year of the Declaration, and that was the year of some of the most significant military movements. But it was going on a little bit before that. It was going on for a while after. Remember that the Constitution wasn't ratified by the 13 states until 1789. And that was just I mean, they had to figure out what the nation was going to be all about, and also how they were going to pick a leader and who that leader should be and what his job was going to entail and how to elect him and all that stuff. Like, there was a lot to figure out. They knew independence was on the menu, but there were some details to figure out. It took them a while. But if you just look at that 1776 date, and then you look at the kicking off of the Civil War at Sumter, you could just look at it and say, oh, there's 85 years between the Declaration of Independence and the start of the Civil War. 85 years on paper is 4 generations, except that a young cavalryman named Harry Lee was the father of the main Confederate commander in the Civil War. There was 1 generation of separation between the American Revolution and the American Civil War. And the Lee family, originally from Virginia, hailed from the same place and had a lot of, maybe not the same, but like similar pedigree and background as the most famous Virginia man, George Washington. Knowing that and listening to all this stuff about the American Revolution and how it kicked off, and McCullough did a good job of starting the book off from King George's perspective and showing what the English view was of the rebels in the colonies. Obviously, we're Americans, we get the American view, but his view was like, they're fine, we're taking care of them, and if they break off, like, they're wrong to do so, but also it will be the death of the British Empire if we start losing our colonies, etc., etc. But from his perspective, it's pretty much the same as the Union's perspective when the South seceded. It's like, no, if you do this, this will be the destruction of us. The difference being that the rebels in the Revolutionary War succeeded, while the rebels in the Civil War did not. But you can see how a man of that stock and of that lineage, and especially, he was only 11 when his father died, but he had great admiration for him, especially who had that very strong kind of spiritual connection to the era and to the man, might come to the same conclusion, saying, well, we are going to be ruled by a tyrant that we didn't appoint and that we didn't elect. Why don't we do what Pop's generation did and declare independence? Now, that's a gross oversimplification of what happened with the Civil War, and won't go into all the details about the how and why of it, but it makes a lot of that, a lot of the mentality of it all, like, more understandable, I guess. There are a lot of like memes and joke takes about the Civil War. Shane Gillis has jokes that he tells about it because he's actually pretty well versed in history, and he's also just a really talented storyteller and comedian. But he jokes about, like, hey, can you imagine how racist you got to be to, like, wake up in Alabama and, like, put your boots on and go march for 4 months to get up to the north because, like, oh, they're gonna set the blacks free. Oh, it's like, funny joke, but just remember, it is a joke. There's more to it than that. It's more complex than that. And the same can be said of the Revolution. And I'm reminded of that as I'm reading this Washington Irving book, and as I'm reading this David McCullough book, and as I reflect on other lesser biographies that I've read over the years. This Light Horse Harry book was good. I found a lot of good information in it. By the end, I was like, yeah, there's a reason that we really didn't study this guy. But again, because of who his son was, a greater amount of effort, academic effort, was put into studying and fixing the facts about his family tree and his lineage and stuff. And that probably led to the career of Light Horse Harry getting a little bit more attention in the intervening years. It has now been, 160 some odd years since the Civil War. Yeah, I'm good at math on the fly. I totes promise. No, it has been 160. I am good at math. Suck it, imaginary detractor. So check out this book if you want to, Light Horse Harry Lee by Ryan Cole. When I read it, it was included in the Audible Plus catalog. I think I read it after I read that biography on Nathan Bedford Forrest. It's like, hey, you like this, you like that. And I was like, wait a minute, I've heard of this Harry Lee guy. But you gain a greater appreciation for the complexity of the perspectives and the things that drove these big personalities to participate in the Civil War if it's Robert E. Lee, and the Revolution if it's guys like Harry Lee and George Washington and the Sons of Liberty and stuff. It's cool. American history is the best history because America is better than other countries which are not as good because America has never done anything wrong. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I love you. Have a happy 4th of July. Talk to you on the next one. Drive safe. See you out there.